your character Bo Katan in Star Wars, there was an obvious succession in how that character grew and evolved. When we were first introduced to the character, she was basically in the background with the Death Watch at first. And we noticed her because she had a funky looking visor on her helmet. It was curved. And we learned that she was part of this night owl group. And then she emerged, and we realized the significance of the character as it was revealed she is Satine's sister. And so that adds a lot of weight onto the character almost instantly, because you want to know more about the character right away. How did she and her sister have this falling apart? Why are they so separate in the way they look at things? How was that for you as an actor to grow with the character through the early days of her introduction in animation all the way up to season 3 of The Mandalorian?
You know, I think that part of the reason, and one of the main reason I believe people are so drawn to Bo, and why I think she is for the most part well received, is that we've had time to fall in love with her. We've had time to feel connected to her. A lot of times you're not given that luxury, you know, and this is a character that we've known now for over a decade, and it was a slow burn. And I don't know if that was the original intent for her. You know, when I was offered the role of Bo, it wasn't Satine's sister. It was a female Mandalorian, which to me was cool. I was like, absolutely. Yeah. She evolved, I think, because it was interesting to write. And when a character is interesting to write, I think people lean into that. And you know, that's why she grew as a character in Clone Wars and then Rebels.
Yeah, that's a really, you know, great way to look at it, because with that evolution, it seemed like the character earned everything along the way, and you can follow her path from background player in the Death Watch all the way to owner of the Darksaber. So tell us how cool it was to fight with the Darksaber in live action in The Mandalorian.
I mean, it was, you know, it was like 15 years of waiting. It was pretty awesome, you know. This weapon has such significance for the Mandalorian people and for Bo as a character. And she never truly understood how to lead until she was humbled. And that's when she became a good leader. And you can go back and you can look at her and you can look at her story from the very beginning, and you can see how in hindsight, every single thing had to happen the way that it happened for her to end up where she ended up. You know, she had to go through those dark moments. She had to go through that loss. She had to go through that guilt. She had to go through that just tremendous fracturing of ego to get to a place where she lives in service of her people, and all she wants is what's best for the Mandalorians. And when she took herself out of it, that's when she finally became the rightful ruler. And I find it very poetic that the thing that the people put so much emphasis and credence on was destroyed, and she's no less of a leader without it.
That's right.
And that's cool.
So do you think the Darksaber is something of a false god for the Mandalorians?
I don't know. You know,
it seems they worship it, but it's really not necessary. It's just a trinket, a weapon, an object. True leadership comes from the individual, not from the weaponry in which they have.
You know, I think that's something that's beautiful about Star Wars and the metaphor, the overarching theme of hope throughout the entire universe, you know, that I think that it is the interpretation of what things mean. And that's why it's so important to so many different audience members for so many different reasons. And that's why there's such a passionate fan base. Because hope looks completely different for many different people, you know, and the metaphor of what the Darksaber was, if that is what it was, you know, means something different to so many different people. And you know, what it means to me and what it represents to me is not necessarily important, because it's such a personal experience, Star Wars, you know.
Very much so.
Oh, we know. we know.
Yeah.